Welcome back. It's Maxine, your spiritual astrologer, teaching you how to learn astrology in a more empowering and soul-centered way. And in this episode, you'll learn what this Aquarius new moon on February 9th, what that means for you, and understanding more deeply what are those soul messages coming through for the Aquarius new moon, and how can you reflect on what I share here today and let yourself, even, if you want to journal more on that and set new moon intentions with regard to what I've shared and what resonates for you. Because as you listen to this, I'm sharing what I've channeled, what I've seen for this Aquarius new moon. No matter what your sign is, this is really the key messages that you need to know. But even so, there'll be certain pieces that you might really resonate with that just really touch your heart. And so I want you to listen with your intuition and take away what pieces are meant for you. So as I go through this, I'll be sharing a lot about how the key message of this Aquarius new moon, February 9th, and really the next about 30 days of that lunar cycle to follow, we're ushering in this reflection on how to live in alignment with your authenticity, how to be true to yourself and your soul's sacred path, and tune out the noise of others around you. So that's a preview of what we'll get into, but before I begin, just in case you want to know even more details broken down by your zodiac sign, you can find that on my website. Go to maxineluthia.com and I send out astro mail every new and full moon, so you'll learn more of a breakdown for your zodiac sign, kind of like a horoscope that you get personal for you for each of those. So sign up for that if you haven't yet. I also have a free downloadable guide to help teach you the astrology basics. So if you haven't gotten that, I recommend you do. And I also, of course, offer readings. So if you want to book one with me, if you want to learn more astrology, sign up for the wait list to Spiritual Astrology School, all of that. Also, you can find that at maxineluthia.com. And yeah, if anything comes up for you today, feel free to reach out to me over on Instagram. Would love to just know that this resonates. I always love to hear stories of what came through for you and how maybe it found you at the time that you needed it. So yeah, let's get into today's episode on the Aquarius new moon. So first things first, when we're talking about this Aquarius new moon, it is an extra powerful Aquarius new moon because we're seeing even the ruling planet of Aquarius, which is Uranus, the modern ruler, it's squaring this Aquarius new moon. So it's asking you, it's really opening your heart up to put pressure from within to let something out that has been caged for too long. And the image I keep seeing with this is there's a feeling that it's not just about being authentic, but there's it's not, that sounds great, but there's this pressure, there's this internal tension that you've been feeling, and it's coming to a boiling point. It's where you can no longer keep the lid on anymore. There's some part of you that maybe you've been suppressing or that has been repressed, or a part of you that you've been ignoring or you haven't had the time for. You just, you'd love to do that hobby or you'd love to share how you feel, but there's some part of you that keeps doubting. There's that inner critic, there's the noise, there's the fear of judgment, there's all of these, limits that are keeping you small in some way. But this new moon in Aquarius is really asking you to decide, to choose. Do you want to just live a life of complacency? Do you want to live a life where you're pleasing others, where things look pretty from the outside, or do you want to move into who you came here to be? Now, I know that sounds really intense. I am a Scorpio moon and I have a Scorpio stellium, but that's what it is. At the end of your life, you're going to look back and you're going to be so happy that you took that decision that really turned your life around, or that you allowed yourself to spend more time doing things that feel good to you, that light you up from the inside, even if it doesn't make rational sense. Even if others don't understand, maybe they doubt you or they criticize you or they talk about you behind your back, let them do what they need to do to, they're just dealing with their own stuff, right? When we judge others, we're only just reflecting our own inner judgments. Criticism is nothing more than that person criticizing themselves more than they ever could you. So there's a need with this Aquarius new moon to really be true to yourself in a way that feels like an awakening, that feels like you are choosing yourself over those opinions of others. You are choosing yourself over the fear. You are choosing not to abandon yourself anymore going forward. And that includes all of you, the messy parts too, the parts that others don't really understand. It's allowing yourself to be misunderstood at times, to be okay with that. And, as long as, of course, still please, please consider others, be considerate, be compassionate, be understanding, be loving, but still at the same time, as long as you're not hurting anyone, go after that dream. Do that thing each day that lights you up. Take time for yourself. There's a need to disrupt old patterns at this new moon in Aquarius. There's a need to see a better future for yourself. One where you are consciously choosing to pay attention. Pay attention to your intuition where it's guiding you. Pay attention to your dreams more than your fears, more than your doubts, more than the criticism. There's a need to be eccentric, to be weird, to allow yourself, again, just to be okay with whatever the noise is. Just turn the dial down on the outside noise and turn up the dial on your heart, on your passion, your creativity, your excitement for whatever it is that when you think about it, all else just kind of fades away a little bit. And that might be obvious to you. Maybe as you're thinking, you're nodding your head, you're like, yes, this is my sign, this is my message. But maybe there's a part of you that's like, oh, maybe just more broadly, I want to be more authentic to myself. Maybe you want to understand even what it is that you desire. Maybe you want to explore. Maybe you want to declare to yourself that you're going to do what it takes to peel back those layers of those stories of what others' opinions are, of that, and pay more attention to your own heart, your own soul. Because you are here with purpose. You're not here randomly. There's truly something that you have to share with the world. And you're gonna align with that the more that you pay attention to what it is that you feel called to, that you feel drawn to. And it's not going to be something that someone else just says, hey, keep doing this, this worked for me. That's what this Aquarius new moon is about. It's saying, hey, that, your birth chart, for example, that is unique to you, no one else. And so you need to follow your own math, not, paying attention to what that person says or what whoever thinks. It's really even, I even say this when I'm teaching astrology in spiritual astrology school or in a reading, I'm sharing with you what I see, what I'm channeling intuitively too, but it's really, you are the deciding one. You are in the driver's seat of your life. And so if you don't feel like you are, scramble up there, take back control, get the wheel, because that is what this new moon in Aquarius is saying. It's saying, how can you filter things? Be the witness. If someone says something, by all means, self-reflect. Sometimes we have the best insights from others, but you are that deciding sovereign being, right? You get to choose and co-create your reality. And so what is it that you want? You get to decide what you identify with and what you discard. And so learning more about yourself with this new moon in Aquarius and what it is you desire for yourself, for your future. It's a time to the image I keep getting is there's a shell that you have that has worked for you and people know you by it. It's how people recognize you. There's an image others have of you, even you have of yourself, expectations attached to it, that it's too small for you. It's become less like a home and more of a cage. And so rather than protecting you, it's keeping you from growth. It's keeping you from expansion. It's keeping you from opportunities that may feel a bit frightening, but are here for you, for your soul's development. And that's what we're here for. We're here in large part to evolve, to share, and so you're needing to say, okay, it's time to grow a new shell. It's time to expand and to get something that encompasses more of you than just this piece. And maybe you already are very authentic and true to yourself, but perhaps there's even a part of you that feels like, oh, well, that's just something, to keep hidden. That's something you kind of keep back there. But what would that feel like if you brought more of yourself forward? If you allowed yourself to let go of the shame or the fear that you may have had surrounding some part of yourself and come more fully into your expression and own that and accept that. And really, with this new moon in Aquarius, to not care so much about what other people think, because that is not your map forward. Sometimes, again, there may be pieces that other people share that really resonate, and that's, if someone is expansive and they're not limiting you, you feel that in your heart, and that's gonna help you going forward. But even so, it's you uniquely, you're the only one who can truly know, who can truly intuitively feel if something is expanding you or contracting you. And so that's the question to ask yourself this new moon. What is some choice you could make for the next even just 30 days of this lunar cycle, this fresh restart? What is one way that you might want to choose yourself, that you want to show up for some future you? Do something your future self would thank you for. That can show up in many different ways, but there's a sense that you need to allow yourself just room to even envision it in some sense. And part of this is allowing yourself to take messy action or to do something that feels, maybe putting yourself out there a bit more, feels a bit uncomfortable, but ultimately is getting you where you want to be, is aligning you back on your sacred path. It's not about following someone else's path. It's really coming back to what is going to expand you, what growth feels right to you in your bones. And it's a lot like that quote, be yourself because everyone else is already taken. That is what this Aquarius new moon is all about. And it's that Aquarius energy too, of being eccentric, being original, but everyone can learn from that. And this specific new moon too, it's aspecting the nodes, which is all about your karmic destiny. And there's this quality of destiny to this new moon where it's a time to interrupt old patterns, to release psychic residue of what's been holding you back, perhaps not even only in this lifetime, but past lifetimes in your ancestry. It's time to be that cycle breaker. It's time to allow yourself to stand out. It's time to let yourself really see that there's more for you. And there's a piece to be said to this where it's not always easy to be authentic. It sounds like, oh yeah, be authentic. That sounds great, of course. But really, there was a time when if you were too different, you could be rejected from the tribe. There would be very big consequences. You may not survive if you didn't have that sense of camaraderie, that belonging to a tribe, a group. And so there's a need with this Aquarius new moon to let yourself know that it is safe to be yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't be supported. There's a need to allow yourself to make sure you're supported by people who support you back. That might look like changes with your friend group, or you're wanting to expand into a community. You want to find those people. You're setting yourself up a way to find those people who lift you up too. Even, listening or watching this, listening to me, like I know that there are people like myself who I found so much joy from communing with people virtually as well. And it doesn't always have to be that you have this group of really close friends. It can also be that you're surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, who ask you to expand, who either, maybe you're watching this, if you resonate with me, there's a piece of you that I'm mirroring for you. And you see that in yourself. It's a confirmation of a piece of what you believe, a part of yourself that you're seeing in yourself too. Really understanding that there's something within whoever you interact with, however that looks, where you have to be very mindful of who you're allowing to help support you, to be in your life, and who is not supportive. How can you construct those boundaries, either, very firm boundaries, obvious ones, or even inner ones where you create that filter. You don't just allow that person's opinion to come in and sweep you off your feet and spiral. I've been there. I'm a huge empath. But learning to be the witness, learning to allow yourself to not just take in and absorb whatever that person thinks about your life, or the neighbor thinks, or whoever, or that commenter. It's allowing yourself to really see that you are the co-creator of your life, this reality. So being true to yourself, following those little nudges you get from the universe, those synchronicities, those signs, that your inner draw to what it is you want to do and create and who you want to be, who inspires you and shows you a piece of yourself to step more further into. That is beautiful. That's a part of what you need to follow on your sacred path. There's a feeling of expansion and contraction that you need to pay more attention to with this new moon. It's asking that of you. And it's really, again, asking you to let go of attachments to what's been holding you back and what's been keeping you playing small, because it's time to expand. And it's not just about you. It's not just about your own personal journey and evolution. That is part of it. That is huge, but it's also the ripple effect that it creates. You don't have to be president of the United States or have like 10 million followers to make a difference. That's such a lie that we've been sold. It's really that individual, day-to-day little interactions. When you talk to that person at the grocery store, you meet that person with a smile on the street. All of that matters so much. How you show up with your friends, your family. It's more important than you can even know. And so we're really reminding yourself that you are worthy of your desires and that you can co-create a reality that you love, that you get to be authentic in, that you get to feel free and not caged, not stuck in that old shell of who you once were, right? We're here to evolve. So allow yourself to grow. And reminding yourself that you get to create your reality. People will tell you to make sure you don't make too rash decisions at this new moon. That's part of it. Like, don't have huge emotional outbursts or be overly reactive. But if there's something you've wanted to do and you felt stuck, allow yourself to take that first step. Allow yourself to break free of what's been restricting and limiting you. This is an energy to support you in that. And you have everything you need within you, or at least to be guided toward your next step. So trusting your intuition is so important at this Aquarius new moon. So how can you be on your sacred path and tune out the noise? And if you don't know what your sacred path is yet, this is a new moon to explore that, to make sure that you're showing up each day to connect more deeply to what does being authentic feel like. How can you release those layers of stories and identities and expectations and get closer and closer, really commit to doing the work to uncovering who you are. Reading your birth chart is a great way of doing that. That's a big part of how I've come into being more my authentic self and loving and accepting myself. But however that looks like to you, really coming back home to yourself. So that's a look at the key soul messages of this Aquarius new moon. I hope that this has inspired you in some way and helped you on your journey, giving you that support or affirmation, that insight that you may have needed to really not only guide you on February 9th, but that whole, lunar cycle following, to really ride the wave of this energy as that new moon energy grows and evolves the next 30 days. Thank you so much for listening. If this did inspire you or anything came up, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be so grateful if you subscribe to this, if you haven't already. If you want to share in the comments on YouTube what's come up for you or give it a like, I'd be so grateful. Or if you want to reach out to me on Instagram. And again, if you are interested in getting that breakdown of more specific even themes of this new moon for your rising sign. I always do that for every new and full moon, so you can sign up to that over on MaxineLuthia.com. That's my astro mail. And I also have other ways to learn with you there. If you want to book a reading, or if you want to learn how to read charts yourself inside of spiritual astrology school, or check out all my offerings there. But thanks so much again for being here. It's such an honor to get to share astrology with you and be a part of your journey in some way. Take care. Happy new moon.